You are listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network.
Welcome to Scuderia F1, the podcast that's always up to speed with the latest Formula One news. Follow us on Twitter at Scuderia F1 Pod and subscribe to the show on iTunes and Stitcher. Now, here are your hosts, Mark Dailey and Kevin Laramée.
Hello and welcome to episode 27 of Scuderia F1, the podcast that is always up to speed with Formula One racing. Today is February 1st, 2017. My name is Mark Dailey. I'm your host, and I hate to admit it, but I'm driving solo this evening. My teammate and co-host Kevin Laramée has had a problem with his power unit, so he's back in the garage, on his side of the garage, with his pit crew trying to sort out what the problem is, but Kevin will be back, hopefully on the starting grid this time next week. Anyhow, it's been a fairly quiet week in Formula One, but nonetheless, there's always a little bit of news that comes out. So there have been several stories that have caught my eye over the last couple of days. So I thought, well, rather than skip a week with Kevin away, I thought I would just put together a shorter show on my own and just to go over some of the news headlines that have been going around this week. Now, first off the bat, FIA President Jean Todt has cautioned Liberty Media not to make too many drastic changes to Formula One. Todd told the Sport Business Summit in Dusseldorf that Mercedes' domination in Formula One is nothing unusual and that it isn't any different than any other sport. The former Ferrari boss also admitted that the purchase of F1 by Liberty Media will encourage new fans to start following the sport, and the FIA will work with Formula One stakeholders to work on a vision to make the sport better in the future. Also today, the BBC is reporting that the long-rumored move of former Mercedes technical director Paddy Lowe to Williams Racing has finally been completed. Lowe's move to Williams has taken much longer than expected, with the deal apparently close to falling apart several times during the negotiation process. No official announcement has been made by either party, but the negotiations have apparently reached a stage where Lowe's joining the team is considered a mere formality. Lowe is set to join Williams as a shareholder and director and will oversee the technical side of the Williams Group. Additionally, with the deal all but done, Autosport.com is reporting that Lowe will begin his duties at Williams on March 1st. And as Kevin and I were talking about last week on the program, Manor Racing has officially folded and closed its doors after administrators were unable to find a buyer for the team. Manor's operating company, Just Racing, went into administration at the beginning of January of this year, and a deadline to find a new buyer was set for the end of January. Sadly, that deadline came and went, and a new buyer and new funding was unable to be secured. Manor needed at least £500,000 sterling to participate in the winter test sessions and then make it to the grid at the first Grand Prix of the year set for Melbourne at the end of March. In a farewell to Formula One, Manor's aerodynamic team released a photo with their design team posing with the wind tunnel model of their MRT-07. Now, the model was the first real look that we got at what this year's Formula One's cars are going to look like, and was a bit of a sad send-off, in my opinion anyways, of the demise of Manor Racing. Former F1 Supremo Bernie Ecclestone has quashed a report that he is preparing to set up a new rival racing series to Formula One. The 86-year-old former kingpin was allegedly setting up the new series to get back at Liberty Media, who completed their purchase of Formula One just last week. One of Liberty's first acts was to remove Ecclestone from the top job and replace them with their very own Chase Carey. The move was shortly followed by the appointment of Ross Brawn and Sean Bratches, who are to oversee the sporting and commercial aspects of Formula One. Ecclestone denied the rumors of a new rival series, saying that he is proud of his involvement in Formula One and that he wouldn't do anything to damage the championship that he has helped build over the past several decades. McLaren's Fernando Alonso has said that the biggest challenge faced by the team this year is the aerodynamics on the new car. The two-time world champion said he is 100% confident that the Honda engine will deliver the power the McLaren needs, but admitted that the aerodynamics are a question mark. Meanwhile, McLaren boss Zak Brown has said that the team needs to secure a new title sponsor by 2018, and he is confident that they will be able to make it happen. McLaren have been without a title sponsor since Vodafone chose not to renew their sponsorship deal at the end of the 2013 season. Brown admitted that finding a title sponsor for 2017 won't happen because it takes up to a year working with a big corporation to get the right deal in place. Brown also admitted that McLaren's sixth-place finish in the 2016 Constructors' Championship was a step in the right direction after finishing a lowly ninth in 2015. Motorsport.com has reported that the Ford Motor Company will not return to Formula One in the near future, citing the high costs involved in the sport. Liberty Media's purchase of Formula One has created optimism that under new ownership, the sport will become more attractive to other manufacturers in the future. Additionally, the FIA would like manufacturers who are currently not involved in Formula One to at least participate in discussions on the post-2020 engine rules that are set to begin later this year. Ford has not had an official presence in Formula One since 2004 and last won a Grand Prix when Giancarlo Fisichella won the 2003 Brazilian Grand Prix in a Ford-powered Jordan. And finally this week, BRDC President Derek Warwick has said that selling naming rights for some of Silverstone's world-famous corners could help increase revenue from hosting the British Grand Prix. Discussions between the BRDC and Liberty Media on the subject were positive, with new F1 boss Chase Carey giving approval that Silverstone could start profiting from revenue streams that have been banned under the present deal that has been in place since the early 2000s. In recent weeks, there have been suggestions that escalating costs to host the British Grand Prix at Silverstone could force the BRDC to exercise an escape clause to stop hosting the race after 2019. Well, F1 fans, that's all for this week's show. Until next time, be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app and give us a follow on Twitter at Scuderia F1 Pod. On behalf of myself, Mark Dailey, and my co-host Kevin Laramée, thanks very much for listening, and we'll catch you again next week.
Thanks for listening to the Scuderia F1 podcast. If you want to get the show notes for this episode, then head over to ScuderiaF1pod.com. Want to get in touch with us? Then email us at ScuderiaF1pod@gmail.com.
You were listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us, sportspodcastingnetwork.com.